Hey everyone, this is Dave and Leo, the gym cat, as you can see. He's down here with me tonight. AC just kicked on. I want to talk a minute about the prison routine that I posted the other night. I want to clarify some things here real quick because I know, I've seen other prison routines pop up here and there on YouTube, and I've also read comments from people denying them as prison routines. That hasn't happened to my routine, but before it does, or if there's anyone out there who's watched it with any doubt, I just want to take a minute and tell you a little bit about the guy who I learned this routine off of. This was years ago. When I graduated from high school, I started working a full-time job as a maintenance man at a very large apartment project in Columbus. That project is still there to this day. It's a huge complex. It's called a Projects. It's on the south side of Columbus, and it's so large that it actually has they have their own police force there. I mean, it's in Columbus, but in the project, they have their own armed security officers who are the first responders to their service calls. Anything that happens, Columbus will show up too, but this place is huge. It's got over 1,000 units. And I work there as a maintenance man. It's low income too. So it gets a lot of, it gets a lot of drug activity, a lot of drinking, a lot of people that live there who have been in and out of prison. And one of the other maintenance men that worked there with me was this guy named Bob Winger. And he was an older guy. I was 18, and Bob was probably 26, 27. And he had recently got out of prison for the third time. And he got a job there as a maintenance man as well. And we worked on the same crew. And Bob found out I lifted weights, and we kind of connected on that issue because he had lifted weights all of his life. He lifted weights in prison, and this dude was jacked. I mean, he was about the same height I was, but the muscularity this guy had was, I had only seen a few people like that in my life. I mean, his entire build reminded me of Frank Zane. Remember the old Frank Zane bodybuilder? Not quite as large, but vascular and built just like him. And anyway, Bob lived in an apartment there and worked as a maintenance man there. And he lived with his girlfriend Debbie, and they had a 2-bedroom apartment, and they slept in one bedroom, and the other bedroom was his gym. He had weights put in it. So once I got to know him, he would tell me about routines that they did while they were in prison. A couple of times a week, once a week or something like that. I was working out 3 times a week at a gym, but I'd go over to Bob's apartment every now and then instead of going to the gym after work and work out with Bob. And these are the routines he showed me. Now, the one I showed you the other night with the cards, he said what they primarily used that for when they were in the cell blocks. This was a county jail primarily. And when they were in the cell blocks in the county jail where they didn't have access to weights in the county jail, they turned the cards over and do that whether they were doing their push-up workout or their set-up workout or their pull-up workout or their prison curls where one guy would lay down and hold his hands up and the other one. He said, but that's what they would do. They would turn cards, and then that would be their rep scheme. And, 5 and under automatically defaulted to a 6. A 7, 8, 9, and 10 was just that. A jack was 11. Queens were 12s. Kings were 13s. Aces were 14s. And jokers were 15s. And sometimes they would just go through them, and through the whole deck. They would just do that. They would all, whatever card turned up, they would each do that number of reps before they would turn the next card up, whether it were 3 of them working out or 5 of them or whatever it was. So that routine is authentic. It came from a guy who had served time a couple times before I met him, 3 or 4 times in the state pen, in and out of county jails in the state pen. And since I have been out of the Army, the years I've been out of the Army, several times when I got out, I tried to find him. I would drive over there and see if anybody knew about him. I was in for 10 years, so he had moved on eventually, and nobody had remembered him. Any of the maintenance men were all different, and nobody really remembered him. And since social medias came out, like Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, I've tried to find him on Facebook. I've tried to Google him, and I can't. So, you know, he could have died. I mean, I don't even know what happened to him. I know he, you know, he would go for months lifting weights really good and getting really jacked. And then he would go on a binge where he'd done nothing but drugs, soapers and acid and smoking pot and drinking, and to the point where he was just ragged out. And then he would come back to the gym, and then we would hit the gym together again. And that was just Bob. I worked with him for a little over a year like that before I joined the military. And I've tried to find him on Facebook, and I can't find the guy. So I'm 59 right now, and he would probably be mid-60s if he's still alive. You know, I mean, I don't want to be a pessimist, but the lifestyle he led, he's probably not even alive now. But I certainly can't find him because I've tried. But anyway, that is a routine, and I'm going to do another routine that he showed me. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to do one tonight, and that'll be a separate video as well. But I just wanted to clarify to you, that is an authentic prison or jailhouse routine that I learned from a guy who did a lot of time. And his name was Bob Winger. I liked the guy myself. You know, I know he didn't do life right, but I liked everything about the guy other than the fact that he got in trouble and did drugs and all that. The guy was funny to be around. He was witty. He could make you laugh. He had a personality that was, I just liked the guy, man. And he was strong as heck, man, and buffed. But, you know, he had a mean streak in him. I wouldn't even say a mean streak. He just liked drugs and alcohol. And he couldn't stay sober he couldn't stay clean and sober any longer than 6 or 7 months at a time, sometimes not even that, 3 or 4 months. But when he was sober, he lifted like crazy, man, and he was strong. But anyway, just wanted to let you know that's an authentic routine. I learned it from a real jailhouse guy. Later, haters.